So here is my reversible zipper that I got to replace the zipper on this hoodie. You can see where I first was just going to put a new zipper pull and I was going to fix the bottom and that didn't work. So I'm going to be ripping this out. Okay, so to begin ripping out this old zipper, we're going to get our seam ripper and just kind of peel away the layers so that you can get to the stitching in here. And then find where it's just some thread and you can get your seam ripper under that thread and pop one of those stitches. Once you get it started, then it's easier to start opening it up to find more stitches. Like that. You can see the zipper is attached not only to the outer layer, but also to this lime green lining. So as we rip, we're also separating the lining from the zipper. The grip fit seam ripper is really helpful right now because it's hard to even see these little threads to get them out, but once I can get it with that grip fit thing, I can get them out of there. You can grab yours at the link below. Okay, so I have the old zipper ripped out and here is the new one. So I'm going to start at the bottom here and take the zipper, the separating zipper apart for the time being. And I'm going to start at the very bottom and stick that in there like that. And you can decide how close or far you want this to be. You might want yours all the way out here like this. You might want it in a little bit more. I'm going to go in kind of far because that's how it was before. And I like it how the gray sweater material, they almost touch like that when you get really close to it. So I'm going to have my fabric come out pretty far to the right like that. And then I'm going to take some of my clips. You can get your jelly bag of clips on our website and just clip this in, and I'm not clipping the other side. I'm only going to sew to this side first, and then I'm going to take a second stitch down it with the other side attached. So I'm just working my way up. Okay, so now you see at the top that my zipper is longer than the opening, and that's okay. I ordered a zipper that was too long because that was all that was available, and that's fine. So separating zippers can be shortened at the top. That's why we started at the bottom. So I'm just going to fold this like that. You could cut this extra off, or you could even just leave it and just shove it in there. Okay, and then we're going to repeat clipping on the other side. So let's sew this in. Okay, I have my machine threaded with a gray thread to match this fabric. And since I'm going to start sewing right here, I'm going to put my zipper foot on. So I'm going to hit this button on the back so this one falls off. And I'm going to put the using this bar, not this side, so that we're sewing like this. So the zipper foot has two positions. So you put it wherever it makes sense for you to have the needle, here's the needle hole, or that's the other needle hole, to have it the needle closest to the zipper. You don't want your zipper foot running over your zipper as you sew. So that's how you decide which side to put this on. So I'm putting it on the right side because I'm sewing with my zipper teeth to the right. If I had this all flipped over and I was sewing this way, it would be the other way. I'm going to slightly elongate the stitch length to 3. Okay, so I'm just gonna take that first clip out, and I'm making sure to only sew through the gray layer and the zipper tape only. Nothing else. No green layer yet. Okay, so I'm going to try to stitch right in that old crease. You can see where the old stitch was. And I'm going to try to sew right in that hole. That top part doesn't want to behave, so I'm just going to move down and I'll go back up to the top part. If you get to a big one like this, I'm just going to raise my presser foot and scooch forward a little bit. Lower back down and then take a couple stitches by turning the flywheel on the right hand side of the machine towards me. Just like that. And lift and scooch forward again just to get past that bump. Down to the bottom and end with a back stitch. Okay, looks pretty good. So we have the zipper attached to the gray layer. Okay, so it's attached to this side. So I have the other piece of the zipper tape here. And I'm going to zip this up again. Because it's important that these points line up and that these points line up. So we need to have the zipper zipped up just for this part. And I'm going to line up these two seams so that they're right across from each other. I'm going to use a pin for this part. Okay, a vertically placed pin is good for that. And then we'll come up here to this other point that needs to line up and make sure that that's going straight across the zipper. Secure that with a vertical pin. And then I'm also going to check the very top here. So I haven't put that inside yet, but that's going to go inside like that. And so we just need to check that it's looking the same on the other side. So here's the top on the other side. Here's the top on that side. Zip it up most of the way. And then I'm going to curl that side in and place a pin. And then however you did it on that side, it needs to look the same over here. So I'll push this in here. And a lot of times I don't do the tops until the very end. I leave them kind of open and then I come back and get the tops. Sometimes they're just kind of hard to work with until the end. And they're kind of the most important part. It's right up by the face where people see it. Okay, so about like that. Looks good. So then after you got those 3 points that needed to line up with each other, then you can go ahead and unzip the zipper. And then you can secure the rest of these with just clips or with pins, either way. And now we'll sew that in the same way. Okay, so now I'm starting at the bottom for this other side, and just again making sure I'm not sewing through that other layer. And I'm just going to start at the beginning here, lining up my needle with that old divot from the old stitching. And I'm going to start with a back stitch. Again, I'm going to lift and scooch forward. And we'll go all the way to the top and end with a back stitch. Okay, at this point, we will zip up the jacket and we'll see what things are looking like. So I can already see I missed a spot down here. I'll need to hit that again. But other than that, let's zip it up. Okay, that lines up kind of. It's good enough. And okay, that lines up. Looks good. Okay, so now I'm going to address this spot again where it wasn't in there, so I'm going to just stick it in there and make sure I catch it this time when I sew it. Okay, the gray layer is all attached, so now I'm going to attach the lime green layer here. Continue with that. So we're just clipping or pinning all the way down, and then we'll stitch this on. And again, I'm trying to line up where I'm going to stitch, which is that divot of the old stitching line. I'm trying to line that up on this stitching line so that when I do it, there will be 2 stitches on the gray side, but they'll hopefully be less noticeable because they'll be pretty much in the same spot. you have any holes like I do here, just roll it a little bit more to make sure that hole goes inside. Okay, so now I'm going to thread the top of the machine with the yellow color and leave the gray in the bobbin for this underneath layer, and then we're going to sew that. Okay, I've got my yellow thread up here and I'm ready to sew. So I'm going to start with a back stitch up here at the top and just make my way down this line. Okay, we'll go all the way to the bottom and we'll end with the back stitch. Looks good. Okay, it looks really good. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so now we have both sides of the zipper attached. Let's go ahead and try to zip it. Okay, the zipper is installed. It works great. Everything's good, but I'm not happy with how uneven this looks at the top. See, when you zip that up, there's just too much extra on this side that isn't there on this side, and I don't like that. So I'm going to get my grip fit seam ripper and I'm going to rip out one side or the other. I'm going to rip out this side because the lining is also coming forward, making it look all messy. So I'm just going to rip out the stitches that we did and I'm going to realign this and sew it back down. No big deal. Sometimes it's better to just get it in there and make any adjustments rather than driving yourself nuts to try to strive for perfection the first time. We can always go in and adjust. Okay, now that the zipper is free, we can try this again. So I'm going to zip it up. And I'm just going to arrange it and pin it in so it looks exactly the same as the other side. So the fabric started to rip a little bit, so I'm just going to do the best I can to make it look good. So I'm just shoving that zipper tape into the coat. I'm going to try to roll this lining in so it's not trying to protrude to the front. I'm going to roll those bits in, see what I can do here. So I'm going to bring this up. It might take a little bit of time to get it adjusted exactly how you want it. Okay, so then when you think you have it pinned in a way that's going to look good, just zip it up and see what you think. I think that looks pretty good. Other than this hole in the jacket, I wonder if I can bring this fabric over a little bit to be where it's supposed to be. There, maybe if I run enough stitches through that, it will be okay. Maybe I'll zigzag over it a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let's head over to the sewing machine. I have the gray thread in the needle and the yellow thread in the bottom. So now I'm going to put the jacket in under the presser foot and starting near the top. I don't want to take out all my pins just yet, so I'm going to do a few hand stitches by turning the wheel towards me instead of hitting the pedal. And then it doesn't want to move because it's so bulky, so I'm going to lift the presser foot and scooch the fabric backwards about the amount a stitch would be. Take another rotation of the flywheel. There, now it's moving okay. A few more rotations. So I just like to do it this way sometimes if I don't want to take my pins out. So there, it's kind of basted in. So now I'll take this out, clip these threads, and now I'll take these pins out and stitch it again a little more thoroughly. So I'm going to start in here where all this weird stuff is. And I'm just going to start stitching straight stitch and a back stitch. And I'm just going to come around this curve and try to come down. And end with a back stitch. Let's pull that out. Okay, that looks all right. I could have not had that little thing on the zipper tape there. There's a little ripple. Maybe if I pull the fabric over a little and stitch it again to kind of cover that up. First, I'm going to just zip it up and see if it looks good or if it needs to be redone. Okay, that looks like it's nice and lined up. Here's the other side. Lots of threads and craziness, but it looks like it's properly placed. So I'll continue reinforcing this in. I don't like this little ripple I got here, so I am going to just rip out a couple stitches and correct it. Stick a pin to secure that. So I'm going to do some zigzagging at the top to cover this hole, and then I'll come down through here. So I'll lower my presser foot down, come over here and switch to a zigzag. Okay. Oops, my zigzag doesn't look like a zigzag because my stitch width is set to 0. Let's turn that almost all the way up. And now it should produce a zigzag. Yep, now I'm going to back stitch. And go forward again. And backwards again. Let's lift and check. Looks pretty good. I'm going to slide the fabric just to the right a little bit and hit over here. And back stitch. Slide it to the left a little bit. Take a stitch, slide it to the left a little more. And back stitch. Let's see how that looks. Take it out. Okay, it's a little crazy, but that's better than there being a hole there. So let's just clip all these threads off and let's zip it up and see how it looks. Looks good to me. There's a little black spot there. If I wanted to zigzag over it, I could, just to fill in that. But that looks good. I'm excited I can wear this again.